Hey, Brickmaniacs, welcome back. Well, if a Mad Minute sale plus inventory from our MOA store wasn't enough to celebrate our return from Germany, we have yet another exclusive thing for you, and that is the release of Brickmania's next large kit, the USS Johnston Fletcher-class destroyer. So this is larger than the B-17. There are going to be 50 of them made in the first batch. That pre-sale is live right now on brickmania.com. That once again, there's only going to be 50 of them, so make sure you get on that as fast as possible. Dan, tell me a little bit about the history behind why you decided to choose this specific destroyer.
Well, this is the USS Johnston. As you said, it's a Fletcher-class destroyer. It's specific. This specific destroyer is famous for its participation in the Battle of Samar, which happened on October 25th, 1944, which actually next month will be 75 years ago. This model was actually, a similar model of this was commissioned by the U.S. Navy for the United States History and Heritage Command. They commissioned me to build one, and I'm like, well, if I'm building one, I might as well build, a version that we can sell to the public as well. And that's what this is. It's a 196 scale waterline model of a Fletcher-class destroyer. This is the authentic, the camel. I think it's measure 21. At the time of the Battle of Samar, the USS Johnston was painted in this overall dark gray scheme, as were most destroyers at this point in World War II U.S. destroyers. The kit basically commemorates the anniversary of the sinking of the ship, and this ship is actually significant because it was commanded by Commander Evans, Ernest Evans, and
Medal of Honor recipient.
Right. When Taffy 3, he was escorting Taffy 3, part of the 7th Fleet, off of Leyte Gulf. Protecting the U.S. landings in the Philippines. They were the beach landings were actually attacked by a Japanese task force built around the IJN Yamato, the gigantic super battleship Yamato. When Taffy 3 was just cruising along doing its usual shore bombardment duty, suddenly out of the ocean fog looms this gigantic task force of Japanese battleships, cruisers, and threat. Basically, the only thing standing between the beachhead, all these unarmed transports, and this huge Japanese battle fleet was Taffy 3, which consisted of, I think 6 light carriers, or maybe it was 9 light carriers, and escort carriers, and a small screen of destroyers. The USS Johnston was the first to turn into, even before being ordered to by the task force commander, USS Johnston turned towards the Japanese ship and basically instead of waiting for orders, went and attacked this hugely superior force in order to buy time for the carriers to get away, because these escort carriers are slow. They couldn't even outrun. They couldn't outrun a battleship for sure.
Right.
So basically, put itself between the carriers and the Japanese force, and also ultimately the beach landings. There was no other U.S. ships in the area that could defend this beach landing except these task force.
Right, and they were on their way. The Japanese fleet was on their way to disrupt those supply chains. And basically, from what I understand, this destroyer pretty much just dove headfirst into it and actually was in range of the Japanese guns, but they couldn't quite yet fire on the fleet yet, and literally had to just charge through the fire in order to get within range, to the point where they could even counterattack, even though when they could counterattack, they were already well outgunned.
Yeah, they were hugely outgunned. They got so close to the Japanese battleships with these destroyers. So shortly after the Johnston took off, the Hold, the Herman, and the I can't remember all the names. Samar B. Roberts, another escort destroyer, basically all charged to go lay smoke, launch torpedoes, anything they could do to delay. They were so close to the big Japanese capital ships that the battleships couldn't even depress their big guns low enough to fire directly on the ships. But nevertheless, they were actually pounced on, and ultimately 4 destroyers were sunk, and an American escort carrier, and others badly damaged in the melee. Before the Japanese, thinking they had met a superior force, actually turned tail and ran. they cut their losses, even though they had no idea that they pretty much could have just wiped out this force. These guys fought so fiercely that the Japanese thought that there was a superior force, and time to leave.
Well, and they weren't afraid to go toe to toe with, as you said, it was a destroyer that fought like a battleship. It did wind up sinking. The crew did have to abandon ship. They lost a significant portion of their crew, including their commander, who was lost at sea and was later a Medal of Honor recipient, as I said. So, waterline model. Of this great like mantle display piece, lots of functioning parts. It looks like everything, all the guns move, the torpedo tubes, all that stuff. So a lot of functioning stuff there, which makes it a really cool situation.
So the overall ship is about 4 feet long. It's just shy of 4 feet. So you have a 4 foot shelf. It'll fit right on it. I think if this was in my house, it'd be like on top of the piano, on the mantelpiece, something like that. Perfect model for that. It also does. It actually breaks into 3 pieces. I'm not going to do it here while we're live. But it breaks into 3 pieces, so you can transport it. It's designed. It was purposely designed for that because if you wanted to go display this at a show or at an event, you're going to want to be able to take it apart and put it in something smaller.
Like I'm sure the Navy's going to want to do when they bring their version around. So I mean, also cool that you would be able to own a piece of something that the Navy is proud enough to be able to show off in that situation, which is very, very cool.
Right.
So like I was saying, that pre-order is live right now on brickmania.com. We're only going to make 50 of them. No signs into the future of if this will return. So make sure you get on that while supplies last. We're also going to, obviously we still have our Mad Minute going on right now, so you can take advantage of that during this time as well. But that will end on Thursday night. And then after that, are we going to have a little extra as well?
So when the Mad Minute goes off, which is Thursday night, if there's any left, we will be issuing a coupon Friday morning in the email that will extend the 20% off for 1 week just for this model.
Exclusively on the USS Johnston.
So we want to give you, if you want to get in on the pre-order, which I should say helps us buy these parts. Parts for this kit aren't cheap. We're basically looking. Your pre-order helps us make this batch possible. But we want to reward you if you're going to come in and spend the money up front. We're going to give you 20% discount. So all right. You'll have to wait a few weeks to get the final models.
Well, definitely one of Brickmania's most impressive models. Quite the spread. I think the ship itself speaks for itself, really. So don't dally, get on that, and hopefully you're lucky enough to get one. I think that they're playing us off.
Yeah.